This week, Barnstable police will meet with Hyannis residents concerned about a recent armed home invasion. Regulations for off-road vehicles on Sandy Neck will change this season. And we will get a look at sports with Brenna McCubry. These stories on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, April 15th, 2014. I'm Sarah Mannel. Regulations regarding the size of spare tires required for access to Sandy Neck are changing. Beach Park manager Nina Coleman addressed the board on Monday and talked about manufacturers' changes to spare tires on many modern vehicles.
The spare tire on a lot of the off-road vehicles is indeed a full-size tire, but it doesn't match. It isn't exact, it's a little narrower, and it doesn't match the existing tires, the existing meaty tires. So
the previous regulations require a spare tire to exactly match mounted tires. The new regulation allows for intermediate spare tires to be allowed at staff discretion. Residents concerned about a recent armed home invasion on Keating Road in Hyannis will meet this week. Town Councilor Jen Cullum organized the community meeting with the Barnstable Police Department to give residents an opportunity to share their concerns. Cullum sat down with Barnstable This Morning host Sarah Colvin to talk about the meeting. We share that interview with you now.
I'm Sarah Colvin, and joining me in studio, I welcome from Precinct 13, Town Councilor Jen Cullum. Jen, good morning.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for coming in. So, of course, we're talking a little bit about a public meeting that's taking place at Barnstable Police, kind of to get neighbors together in response to some pretty kind of scary incidents that have been happening in the C Street neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, so first to speak to that, it's not just the C Street neighborhood. We've had stuff town-wide. I want to make sure I point that out. And also Cape-wide, there's been some really violent things that have been happening. So I guess what I'd like to say is first announce the meeting, which will be Wednesday, April 16th at 6 p.m. at the Barnstable Police Station. And the police will be there to answer questions that you may have regarding the investigation and you know, try to maybe mend some fabric in the neighborhood. When anything this violent happens, and I don't care, in any neighborhood, in Dorchester it would have been shocking. It's terrifying to the neighborhood, and I really just want to make a plea that we stay positive when we at this meeting, and that we show support for the victims, which is it's just really necessary right now. I happen to know the victims personally, and I actually knew the perpetrators from the store, and this type of stuff just rips a neighborhood apart. So I'm interested in getting in front of the whole problem and not losing the momentum that we have on C Street, which I'd like to outline a little bit of, if you don't mind. So for 8 years, I've been fighting really hard to make our place safer, and there's definitely been, you know, glitches, and this is a big one. But I want to keep everybody on target because we have really good things happening on C Street. We're already through 3 visioning sessions there. We're planning on making it beautiful, and I think that will help with this element as well. But I would like to ask all councilors to come if you possibly can. I think it's a town-wide problem. We had the armed robbery in Marston's Mills, and we've had we had home invasions in Centerville.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a lot going on, so I think that this might be a good forum for everyone to discuss their concerns.
Indeed, and again, as you mentioned, trying to kind of keep it positive. Of course, residents are going to be concerned, especially with the one that happened on Keating Road, just because it wasn't, the police, as they tell us, can't really find any connection between the perpetrators and the victims, and no reason. So, you know, I think that definitely puts everyone, not just in that neighborhood, but really all across town, a little bit more on alert and a little bit more concerned. Well, could this happen to me?
And, you know, and to your point, I think people in my neighborhood are actually relieved about that because, you know, we have a troubled neighborhood and we're always on edge about that and trying to work to make it better. But this could have happened in Osterville or West Barnstable or whatever. So we're like, I can't speak for everybody. In studying the problem myself, I can tell you that I do feel a certain amount of, I don't know if relief is I'm very reflective on that because there was no connection. This can happen to anyone. And I just think as a town we should pull together on this and really stay positive about making our neighborhood safer for our kids. And I mean, we'll discuss different techniques on how to do that. Maybe C Street needs another burst team. Maybe, you know, other things need to happen there. And obviously I would support that. But I have to say we've been fighting for a long time to have a safer, cleaner, better neighborhood, and we've been doing a really, really good job, you know. And
indeed, and you can only kind of move forward from here. And I think that by getting everyone together, you know, regardless of whether they're from C Street or from Osterville or from West Barnstable to come to this meeting, it's a good chance to make connections with your neighbors, and that's so important. And that's something that we've heard coming out of the task forces is know your neighbors and help out your neighbors and keep an eye out. Know the cars that are in the neighborhood. Know what your neighbors drive. So when you see something unusual, it'll put you on alert so you can kind of be more aware of what's going on.
Yeah, you know, and I think, you know, when you were just talking about the fact that it could have been anybody, it was totally random. You know, we had another thing happen on Saturday in the morning on C Street that was very violent, another attack, you know, which was not random. It was a connected thing. And so this is the type of thing that gives the neighborhood a really bad name, actually, is that, you know, people are living in our neighborhood that are hooked up with people who who they've angered and who want retribution. And that is a neighborhood thing.
Right.
But this is a town-wide thing we're talking about now. And obviously, absolutely nobody deserves that. And I do believe a couple of the victims will be there so at the meeting. And I'm asking sincerely that I'd love you to come. And if you come, please be positive and please show support for these people who, you know, we need to make them feel safe in our neighborhood again and safe in their homes. And the honest-to-God truth is, if somebody wants to break into your house and hurt you, they're going to do it. Mm-hmm. These people were up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, as friends, having fun in their house. And I mean, they weren't sleeping, they weren't, I mean, this was
home
a really angry, awful invasion. And, you know, it could happen to absolutely anybody. So I just think it's important that we reach out to them and mend the fabric a bit.
Absolutely.
You know?
And working together to find solutions and supporting one another, and again, being positive and making the neighborhood a positive place to be. I think the more positive energy you've got in an area, the less of the element of negative is going to be prevalent.
Well, the less comfortable they are to be there.
The less welcome they are.
You know, more you turn on the lights, the cockroaches go. You know, and that's what we're looking to do there. And we've been building toward it, and it takes a long time. But, you know, really the people who bought homes and own homes on C Street deserve a dollar for dollar value for their property. And with crime like this, it's really difficult to encourage people to come and stay and invest in the neighborhood. So I'm not saying forget about it at all. I'm saying pick it up, look at it, embrace it, move on, and let's try to find a more positive future for ourselves. I think that's the only way to confront it. You definitely we can't have a barbecue and call it an okay day. That doesn't work for me. So that's why the meeting, and hopefully we'll get somewhere with that.
And we want parents to feel comfortable letting their kids ride their bikes up and down C Street, go to the beach, you know, shop at the store.
We do. It's a beautiful street.
It really is.
You know?
It really
is. It's a beautiful street. So
this is taking place April 16th, Barnstable Police Headquarters, of course, right on Finney's Lane at 6 o'clock. Open to the public. Police will be there. You'll be there.
Yep. Hopefully there'll be a lot of other counselors there. They've been asked to come, and I'll ask again. And I really want to stress it's a town-wide issue, not a C Street issue. Although certainly it happened 10 houses from my house, so you know it's a C Street issue to me. But I think the whole thing would really benefit from a town-wide approach. So that's what I'm looking to do.
For sure. Well, Jen, thank you so much for coming in and joining us, and we'll catch up with you after the meeting.
I appreciate it.
And again, that meeting will be held at the Barnstable Police Department tomorrow night at 6. It is open to the public. Now let's get a look at sports with Brenna McCoubry.
Good afternoon, Barnstable. I'm Brenna McCoubry, here to bring you the latest on National and Red Raiders sports. The Boston Celtics fell to the Philadelphia 76ers last night, 113 to 108. They will play again tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. against the Washington Wizards. The Boston Red Sox have a matchup today against the Chicago White Sox in Chicago. The first pitch will be thrown at 8:10, and Jake Peavy will have the start on the mound for the Sox. It's that time of the year for hockey fans as the Stanley Cup playoffs begin tomorrow. For the Boston Bruins, the quest for the Cup will begin Friday as they face off against Detroit Red Wings. Puck drops at 7:30 at TD Garden. Taking a look at Red Raiders sports, all afternoon athletics began at 4. Home was girls varsity golf versus Dennis Yarmouth. Boys freshman lacrosse played BC High, and girls varsity spring track hosted Brockton. On the road at 4 was boys JV and varsity lacrosse at Dartmouth, and boys varsity spring track at Brockton. That's it for sports this afternoon. Here on Barnstable Today, I'm Brenna McCoubry.
Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we'll chat with Director of Growth Management Joanne Miller-Buntich and Finance Director Mark Milne. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mantle.